It's like a brother, mashallah, calls his wife when he wants to do things. So he consults his wife, he talks to his wife. Him and his wife are very close. They do things together. So if you tell him, Akhil Kareem, tomorrow we're going to go out, inshallah, we're going to do something together. He'll say, yeah, I want to, tell my wife what's going to happen and I'm going to inform her. I might not do that. But you like doing that with your wife? I say to you, what? Zakaria, what are you thinking? You shouldn't be doing that. Akhi, you don't tell these women what to do or what you're going to do. Hide it, conceal it. Don't tell them. Now, this is a problem. I give an example. There was a sister, she got married. And when she got married, she didn't want to have children. She said, I don't want to have children. And I don't want to have kids. I'm not going to have kids. Now, is it right? Is it wrong? Should she have or should she have not? That's not the point. The point is the story. I just want to focus on something. So then the sister, she took preventative to prevent herself from having children. Now, she didn't tell her husband. Again, is it right? Is it wrong? That's not the point. I'm not focusing on that. She got married. She did this. The husband found out later. What did he feel? Betrayed. He felt betrayed. He sat with her. He said, why did you do this? She's saying, I want to spend time with you because I've had an experience through my sister. So I've lived this experience through my sister. Meaning she got married and her husband, as soon as she got married, she got pregnant. And then she never ended up having time with him. And child after child was born and they never bonded. And that caused between the two of them, because straight away she had a child, it caused a bridge. So she said that was my reason. It was out of love for him. It's not because I didn't want to have kids for him. It's I wanted to get to know him. I wanted to fly with him. I wanted to travel with him. When he goes, I want to go to that country, I'm going with him. If I had children, I wouldn't get that opportunity. Now, right or wrong, he believes that she's doing it because she doesn't want to have his kids. She's saying, I honestly, wallahi, want to have his kids, but I love him so much. The point I'm coming to is her action right or wrong. It's not my point. My point is he doesn't know that this is why she did it. And she doesn't understand that he feels this way because of. So a lot of the times what tends to happen, is that the brother is blindsided by Method and the girl's appearance and the way she looks. So what that tends to do is, and we're weak as human beings, and what sips into the heart is what the eyes see. So you walk into a house and you see the girl and your mind boggled, gobsmacked, you're lost of words. You sit down, now whatever she's saying and whatever conversation that you guys are having, and you're not even listening. You're like, this is going to be the wife I marry. You already married her, yeah. You're already married. You're thinking about the dowry. I'll give her whatever she wants, whatever hall she wants me to marry her in, I'm going to do it. You're already signing any contracts that's put in front of you. Now that's a problem, because now what you've done is you've only focused on one of the four things that the Prophet mentioned. تُنْكَحُ الْمَرْأَةُ لِأَرْبَعٍ. A woman is married for one of four reasons. لِمَالِهَا وَلِجَمَالِهَا وَلِدِينِهَا وَلِحَسَبِهَا وَلِدِينِهَا فَرَّ بِذَاتِ دِينِ تَرِبَتْ يَدَاكَ, the Prophet said. So yeah, definitely, one of the four is beauty, woman's wealth, lineage, and her religion. And definitely, of course, marry the woman because you're attracted to her. And the opposite is true. The woman marries a guy she's attracted to.
Right.
But that shouldn't blind you from the rest. I need to look at the rest. Like, I need to look at what is her religion like, and I need to focus on that. If you're not doing that, and you're not looking at her akhlaq, and you're not looking at her religion, and you're just blinded by her looks, then later you're going to regret it. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get married, and then you're married for a while, and then as a human being, even the way what you saw as beauty yesterday, you might not see it to be beauty today. So you lose interest in that woman that you chose because of beauty, and now she feels like you don't want her anymore. But all the akhlaq and everything is not. And the opposite is true. I don't want to just bash the sisters or just point my fingers at the sisters. The brother's side as well. The sister marries the brother because of how he looks, and that he's in the gym. He does i'tikaf in the gym. She's marrying him for that. And so he comes in and he's mashallah, Allahumma barik. He looks this way and she sees him, and that's it. She's happy. I'm getting married. He's 6'6". He is this. His strength is this and this and that. So she's already given in. Whatever he's saying to her, whatever disrespect he might throw at her, it's because of how he looks. So these things are one of the reasons why later it comes up. These problems, the things that weren't addressed, is now being addressed. So the sheikh or the imam looks at the two and says, these things, weren't they not addressed before you got married? Why didn't you guys not talk about it before? Another reason why I feel like conflicts happen is because expectations, like what each person expects from a marriage. I think there's this flawed belief of what marriage should be like. Yeah, movies, social media, conversations that people have, setting unrealistic measures or unrealistic goals. Like, this man has to be this and has to be this and has to be this. Even the brother, he's setting criteria and things that I don't think you would ever find it. So what happens is when the brother gets married, he's setting these goals for this girl. You have to be this, you have to do this for me, you have to be like this and like this. And if she is falling short in certain things, he's like, my rights are missing. You know that she's going to sometimes not listen to you.
Right.
There's times which she's going to disobey you. There's times when she doesn't want to hear what you have to say. There's times she's going to ignore your phone calls. We're not saying that's a good thing, but that's marriage. That's what happens. People differ, disagree, arguments, voice are raised. The wife, if you don't have that belief and you think it has to be 100% perfect, if I tell her stand up and I tell her jump and she doesn't say to me how high, then this woman is aq, she's a disobedient woman and I'm going to get married again and I'm going to let her go. That doesn't work. There are moments when, of course, you're not going to get the best side of your wife. And that's the times, of course, the time of the month. What do you call it, when she's pregnant? These are times when a man really needs to bite his tongue, his lip. Brother, don't argue. Don't say anything. Be quiet. Just at this moment, you don't no inputs. Just let it be. Why? Because this time she's not deliberately choosing to do what she's doing, or she's not deliberately saying what she's saying to you. Biologically, you have to understand her body, what she's going through, and this is a moment where you have to tap out and say, look, I'm not going to argue with you. You're right. I'm wrong. And help her. It's just a few days anyways. Ayyam al-ma'dudat. It's a few days. And after that, she'll laugh with you and say, why did I say that? Why did this happen? I shouldn't have said that to you. I shouldn't have done this to you. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ in the Hadith, he mentioned that if you marry a wife and you see in her things that doesn't please you, you don't like this trait about her, then what you need to remember is she has an ocean of good. The fact that a brother can come up to you and say to you, Imam, my wife, she has this problem and this problem and this problem and this problem and this problem. And then I say, only 5, yeah? He goes, yeah. I'm like, okay, only 5. And you've been married for how long? 15. Wallahi, she's a good wife. ومن ذا الذي ترضى سجاياه كلها كفى المرء نبلا أن تعد معايبه. And who's perfect? There's nobody perfect, right? So the fact that you can count your wife's mistakes is what? Is a sign that she's got a lot of good. Allahumma barik. So no one's perfect here. No husband is perfect. The imam that you're going to and you're talking to, the student of knowledge you're asking a question to, none of them are perfect. There's a list of mistakes and shortcomings that they have. And our wives are hiding those mistakes for us, or they're concealing it for us, or they're looking at the ocean of other goods that we might have, inshallah. And they're inshallah ta'ala, forgiving us because of that. So the brother has to understand that this woman that you're marrying, Akhil Kareem, she's not perfect. Nor are you perfect. And it is with that imperfection that you see perfection in her. Your imperfections are my perfection. Yani what you lack is what I wanted you for. And if you marry a sister, and that sister, she literally becomes everything that you wanted. Is she or is she you? You just want yourself, basically. You have to let her, this is what makes who she is, right?
Right.
And the same is with the sister. This brother, yes, he might not be this, he might not have this, he might not have this, sister, but he has this, and 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 he has. So look, having unrealistic expectations in marriage is what destroys a lot of marriages. A lot of marriages. Another thing is communication. People don't talk. So when marriage problems are brought, what do? The imam just makes both of them talk. That's all I do. I get the husband and the wife to talk, and I let them just say what they both want to say. And you will find out that they actually haven't been saying these things to each other properly. They haven't been communicating. Actually, they were filling the blanks. So the wife is actually saying, yeah, he doesn't, when he came into the house, he didn't say salam alaikum to me. The reason why he didn't say salam alaikum to me is because he hates me. And he doesn't, she filled that gap. He, on the other hand, is saying, I called her twice yesterday. She didn't pick up. She's deliberately, no, you added the word deliberately. She's deliberately choosing not to pick up my phone call. No, you added deliberately. And so people start filling the gaps and start making up their own chain of events. And there's a concept in psychology that they say, which is, don't contaminate your memory. Sometimes when you go back to that memory and you keep revisiting it again and again and again, you contaminate it.
Right.
You change it. The event how it was, because you keep visiting, going back to it again and again, you will contaminate it. It's like a crime scene. You don't go to the crime scene and touch it. It's left. No one goes to it. So memory, what happens to it? So people, when they go back and they keep playing that event again, certain things were not there and they start adding to it. So anyways, that's what happens in lack of communication. And like for example, I give an example. There was a sister, she got married. And when she got married, she didn't want to have children. She said, I don't want to have children. And I don't want to have kids. I'm not going to have kids. Now, is it right? Is it wrong? Should she have or should she have not? That's not the point. The point is the story. I just want to focus on something. So then the sister, she took preventative to prevent herself from having children. Now, she didn't tell her husband. Again, is it right? Is it wrong? That's not the point. I'm not focusing on that. She got married. She did this. The husband found out later. What did he feel? Betrayed. He felt betrayed. He sat with her. He said, why did you do this? She's saying, I want to spend time with you because I've had an experience through my sister. So I've lived this experience through my sister. Meaning she got married and her husband, as soon as she got married, she got pregnant. And then She never ended up having time with him, and child after child was born, and they never bonded. And that caused between the two of them, because straight away she had a child, it caused a what? A bridge. So she said that was my reason. It was out of love for him. It's not because I didn't want to have kids for him. It's I wanted to get to know him. I wanted to fly with him. I wanted to travel with him. When he goes, I want to go to that country, I'm going with him. If I had children, I wouldn't get that opportunity. Now, right or wrong, he believes that she's doing it because she doesn't want to have his kids. She's saying, I honestly, wallahi, want to have his kids, but I love him so much. I want to. The point I'm coming to is her action right or wrong. It's not my point. My point is he doesn't know that this is why she did it, and she doesn't understand that he feels this way because of. He feels this way because of she doesn't understand. She's like, why you, if I'm so they're not communicating. There are multiple examples like that where two parties, there's an absence of communication. So they have a reason of why they did it. Is that reason right? Is it wrong? It's besides the point again. Right. But you have to hear the person's reason to understand it in order to deal with it. And it changes perspectives. If you now know that a woman took that contraception, you still feel upset because I always wanted you to have my children. But okay, you want to spend more time with me. I feel different. Versus if you did it because you don't want to have my children. Do you see the difference? Each situation would call for different response. So communication is vital. So that's why marriage conflicts, the way to get it is to allow the two parties to talk and allow each person to listen, not hear, but listen to each other. And that's why adabu al-muhadatha, doing a course on how to listen and hear each other's points, is very, very well needed. It really resolves so much problems. And there's a few other points I think, to add on, which cause a lot of divorces, why people leave each other. And that is comparing your marriage to another person's marriage. And this is very dangerous. I'm married. Me and my wife are happy with each other. Our marriage it works like this. It's amazing the way that it is. There is nothing between us other than love. But you, Zakaria, might have another way you and your wife deal with each other. I come and I say to you, you know what, Zakaria, you shouldn't be doing things like this with your wife. Why? Because this is not how I do it with my wife. And then I start whispering to you, and your family, your wife, you destroyed only because I'm giving you measures or expectations or explanations which are not, it's all based on personal preferences. So, you having this relationship with your wife is not shari. It's not qala Allah and qala Rasul. It's like the way that you understand? Yeah. So, and a lot of these decisions that you and your wife are making together, or that you guys are both doing, it's not halal or haram. It's aada, norms, customs, how you guys like doing it together.
It works for you.
It works for you, mashallah. But that shouldn't be, because it worked for you, it's going to work for Zakaria and his wife. Because you guys might not like doing it like that. Do you understand? And so this destroys a lot of marriages like this. So you start saying, well, I look up to Abdulrahman. He's my friend. He's my teacher and this and that. You know what? I'm actually going to implement this advice that he gave me. And you go home and you try to implement it. And then it destroys everything that you built. So now, if it is something shar'an, from a religious perspective, I tell you, this is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this in your household. From a religious perspective, two things have to be there. I have to be a person of authority to say that. Meaning not any random person can say that. A person has to have knowledge in order to say this is shar'an wrong what you're doing. And secondly, that person should say it in a way that doesn't cause the marriage to end. He should bring solutions and how they can deal with it and etc. But majority of the times you're hearing advice is like a brother, mashallah, calls his wife when he wants to do things. So he consults his wife, he talks to his wife. Him and his wife are very close. They do things together. So if you tell him, Akhil Kareem, tomorrow we're going to go out, inshallah, we're going to do something together. He'll say, yeah, I want to, tell my wife what's going to happen and I'm going to inform her. I might not do that. But you like doing that with your wife? I say to you, what? Zakaria, what are you thinking? You shouldn't be doing that. Akhi, you don't tell these women what to do or what you're going to do. Hide it, conceal it. Don't tell them. Now, this is a problem. They say you're whipped. And so now Zakaria goes to his wife and says, I'm not going to tell you where I'm going. Because Khalid, Zayd and Amr and Bakr don't do that. Why do I have to do it? Rather that's subjective. If you want to do that and it works for your marriage, فَنِعِمَّهِ, what a great thing. And if another brother doesn't tell his wife and it works for him, فَنِعِمَّهِ, what a good, like, as the asl is that this is all subjective. What works for you doesn't necessarily work for this person. What works for that person might not work for this person. So a lot of marriages, they crumble because of that.